When I'm not updating my Tinder profile bio to read only, I'm on famousbirthdays.com. I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. 406, wow, finally I've seen someone pointing this out. It's really, really practical, and I don't see a lot of people teaching or addressing this. Thanks, Sean. So what this means, this is in a lesson I taught 2 weeks ago-ish about the difference between minor and major pentatonic, right? So let's say that we're in the key of C, right? You put your pinky finger on the 8th fret of the low E string, and then play the notes in C major pentatonic, right? Now, the point that I was making is I always think of minor pentatonic first, okay? So I'm going to go into this whole rant on guitar gatekeeping. But basically, here's A minor pentatonic, right? I guarantee you've seen the shape before. 5-8, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 5-8, 5-8. That's just kind of like an abbreviated version of the A minor scale, which would be 5-7-8, 5-7-8, 5-7-9, 5-7, 5-6-8, 5-7-8, right? Those are all the notes in the key of A minor pentatonic. And if you start on a C, then it's actually C major or C major pentatonic or whatever. And this is something that is so confusing, and it is actually kind of maddening to me because, you know, if you try to explain this with music theory and stuff like that, it's like, all right, let's just kind of like jam on a C major chord for a minute and then go to that spot and just play some notes, right? Rocking the Fender Ultra Strat out, by the way. So let's say we have like a C major chord, establishing that that's the only chord you're going to hear. All right, and then I'm gonna go into that shape. No matter where I really start, you know. C major. C major. Right? It's like, okay, well, you're not really playing A minor pentatonic, the A minor shape. You're actually playing C major. Because the tonal center is C major. Like, that sounds so stupid. And, like, no actual person listening to music would ever think about it that way. But I think there's this thing in music education where there's just this massive gatekeeping thing that's like, yeah, if you want to just play the A minor pentatonic scale because that's how you see it, and that was the point that I was trying to make, because this is the first shape I ever learned in guitar, and let's face it, guitar is definitely an instrument of shapes because everything moves around. You learn one minor pentatonic shape, you move it down a fret, and you've learned 12 different ones just depending on where you root it, right? So having another layer of difficulty education-wise being like, well, you know, technically that's not the B-flat minor pentatonic scale right there because you're actually, the tonal center is on the 3rd degree of that. It's just so stupid, and no one actually, that's not how music works. Like, listeners don't listen to music and be like, oh, that pentatonic minor solo was awesome. Oh, excuse me, sir, no, that was a major pentatonic solo. Like, that's just kind of like so stupid, and I think it really does like a lot of harm for students, and that's why there's so much of like a kind of a tendency and a hesitancy for people to ask questions. And I'm totally self-taught. I never really had lessons or anything, and I remember being very intimidated asking other guitar players stuff because I didn't really have a working understanding of how all this stuff worked at the time. And I think all this just feeds into each other, and it just creates this like stupid gatekeeping guitar community like I keep referencing. In fact, I got another question here that I thought was a great example of this, right? So the question says, hey Sean, if I had to think of modes in relation to scale degrees, would a 2-5-1 progression essentially be a Dorian, Mixolydian, Ionian progression? Okay? I think if you asked theory professors, they'd be like, absolutely not, that's wrong, right? So like a 2-5-1, let's do it in C again, right? So it's the most important thing you could ever learn is how to number scale degrees and turn them into chords. I go over all of this stuff on my Patreon and on the fretboard masterclass that I have, which again, for the next 7 days, I'll make that just super cheap, just in case you ever have any ambitions to learn the shape method type thing. But a 2-5-1 in C, right? C, the 2nd degree of C is D. So it's like a D minor to a 5 to a G to a C, right? So, okay? That's clearly just a way to get around to resolving on C, making it Ionian, making it major, right? So that's why traditionally you wouldn't think of that progression as being Dorian, Mixolydian, Ionian. But you know what? I'm proud of you because you already understand that each one of those scale degrees has its own kind of spot, right? The first one is major Ionian, the second one is Dorian, and the fifth one is Mixolydian. And even if, you know, you like, all right, C major, G Mixolydian, D Dorian, like the fact that you already know what's kind of special about each mode, even if it's not technically playing modally, I think that's just a great way to approach it. You know what I mean? That means that you're being thoughtful about how things are moving, and you are very capable of playing and writing great music. So if anyone ever gives you a hard time about not understanding music theory when like you're trying your best and you're trying your best to educate yourself, I think really telling people they're wrong when it's major pentatonic or minor pentatonic is just a disservice, and you just end up looking like a fool yourself. Total clown move, you know? I get it if somebody's like, well, what's the difference between major and minor pentatonic? Then like, yeah, that's a great example of, here's a question like, okay, that's a very interesting question. Let me tell you why, and let's talk about tonal center and why. When I play a C chord and then I get into minor pentatonic, it sounds majory. Or when I play a F major 7 chord, and then I play the A minor pentatonic, it sounds F Lydian-y or something like that. Those are great questions, but if they're not asked, don't all of a sudden just go full-blown music theory like, oh, that's actually the Lydian mode, and you can't have a C chord in there or else it's going to bend everything back to Ionian. Because again, like, while there is merit in there, and it's kind of fun to have arguments about stuff like that, I think there's actually really nothing musical in speaking that way. So I think it's dumb, and that's my gatekeeping rant. So you wrote a song dedicated to an effects pedal. I can get behind that. Yeah, so Walrus Audio Effects, my favorite pedal company, sent me their new chorus vibrato pedal, Julianna. Awesome pedal, and I thought instead of doing just like a regular demo, me and Drea would just write a song about the mythology of the pedal.
Julianna, do you wanna get together, baby, underwater? It's been a long time since I saw you all alone. Julianna, it's time to come home.
One thing I love about the pedal community is like, it's a chorus vibrato pedal, but they have this mythology. And again, I think Old Blood Noise Endeavors does a great job of that too. Same with Earthquaker. I love just kind of like that extra layer of creativity that like having like a backstory to each pedal I think is awesome, even if it's just a stupid fuzz pedal, you know what I mean? So yeah, we've gotten an incredible response to that song that I posted, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen it, because you know, we're trying to get people to stream it, and I think it's a good job, and we're gonna have more coming soon. So definitely check that out, and I think I'm gonna do like a making of the entire video series, just kind of how I've made the whole thing, because people have some questions about the production of it. I'll probably put that up later this week or this weekend, so stay tuned. Also wanted to add, a lot of people asked, when am I going to choose the winner of the contest? I did that on a live stream where I gave that guitar away, the Framus Panthera, so I already shipped that out. Shout out to Nate McQuillan, I believe is how you pronounce the last name, for winning it, and we're probably going to have some more contests soon, so like I said, stay tuned. The violin was very cool, but the rest of the demo, you didn't really do much of anything except flap your gums. Do everyone a favor, don't do any more demos till you learn what a demo is for. I love that, like, not knowing what a demo is for. Like, you're not supposed to explain anything. Everybody's just kind of different when it comes to that, and that's why for the demos I try to mix it up. Sometimes I talk about features, sometimes I just play just the audio, sometimes I write a song about a pedal. But it's just funny. Do everyone a favor and not talk about it. If anything, I kind of appreciate a lot of the demo stuff when they're explaining to me how it works. Because I have a piece of gear. It's funny. The first thing that I do whenever I get something new, I look up the demos and have some other YouTuber explain to me how it works before I explain it to everybody else. So I guess that's why I just find it valuable to have at least some speaking during the demos. So for listening homework this week, I'm going to throw you to a Father John Misty song that someone requested during the live stream. I like Father John Misty. Sometimes it gets a little precious. I'll just say that as a grain of salt. But generally, I think he has a lot of really great songs. And this is the one that the guy requested, and I hadn't even heard it before. And then I listened to it and thought it was pretty cool. So check that out. Also check out Julianna by me and Andrea. And also I'm going to link you to a video that we just posted on her channel of her unboxing a Muppet that one of the subs sent us, because it's ridiculously funny. now we have two Muppets. So yeah, definitely check that out. Hit me up on Patreon. Check out the class while it's on sale in the description. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks a lot.